Welcome to Diary of an Unemployed Actor with me, Milo Dennison. Today, I am joined by Paul Sonnier. He is an actor living in Ogden. Sorry, I wanted to say Ogden there. It's my first place I think when I think Utah.
Right.
But he's living in Utah, a little town just north of Salt Lake City. And so welcome to the show, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So first question, when I think places to go to make a living as an actor, Utah is not the first thing that comes into my head. What's the acting work like there?
Look, it's a funny thing. A lot of people don't realize like a lot of stuff actually is shot in Utah. They have this beautiful state-of-the-art studio in Park City. It's pretty. Every film person probably knows Sundance, Park City. But also, so you got to think, Touched by Angel was shot here for 10 years. The spinoff was shot here. I don't know if people watch Disney. Andy and Mac was shot here. Yellowstone's actually shot here right now. If people watch Yellowstone.
Is
There's
that
been
still on the air? I didn't realize
yeah,
that.
season
Yeah,
three's
okay.
about to start actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's been numerous shows like you have to think Westworld was out here for this past season for a few weeks shooting out here. They just did a movie with Mark Wahlberg out here. There's a new movie on Netflix called The Night Clerk with Joe and Anna Day Armas, if I'm correct. That was shot out here. I mean, they get filmed out here. I guess most people don't look at the credits to see where things are shot, and people don't think like Utah, but the scenery, because I mean, especially in the wintertime, you have the snow up north, and then 3 hours down south, it's still 80 degrees, and you have the desert and the rocks and stuff. So it's actually a prime place to shoot projects out here.
So if you need those kind of nice open spaces or that different weather that you can't get in California, and it's probably, I'm sure there's financial incentives to shoot there, I would imagine.
Yeah, they do have a little bit of financial incentives for people coming out here. So yeah, I mean, like instead of like saying I need winter, so I got to go to Montana and then fly to Arizona. You come to Utah, and it's just a 3 hour drive. You just move your set 3 hours down south, and you're away from the snow. So,
Nice. What got you into acting? What started you?
so always wanted to do it as a kid. Just kind of, I was a lot more shy as a kid. Don't think I could have handled rejection. I don't think I could have handled no, going to an audition and not getting a role. I think I was like a little bit more sensitive growing up. So my dad actually writes. He's a writer. He's produced a few projects of his own, and kind of just made a move about almost 6 years ago. And actually, a funny story is I'd always watch like Drumline, Nick Cannon, and like Love Don't Cost a Thing, and I would watch and I'd be like, no, that should be me. Like I could play that role. I could do that. And finally, I just made a move. I was actually working for the Forest Service doing geospatial data, like topography and stuff like that. And I got a call from a friend that couldn't make it one day to be a stand-in for Common, the rapper Common, on a movie called Being Charlie that Rob Reiner was directing.
Hmm.
And they needed somebody who looked like him, so they asked me if I would shave my head and shave my head. It was kind of a crazy day because they washed my clothes, but the dryers weren't working, so I had damp clothing the whole day. Uh, Rob Reiner was great as a director, just checking up on me, like, "Hey, are you sure you are good? I know what's going on. Are you fine?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. Then I appreciate being here." And so my dad knew a guy, acting coach here named Rob Diamond, so I got back into acting classes, and from then on out, it's kind of never stops. Kept training, kept started booking projects in state and out of state, and I'm where I'm at now.
And that's great. And you're working full time as an actor, right?
Yeah, pretty much, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I work full time as an actor. I do some stuff on the side from the college out here, like simulation programs and events. Um, Not now with everything going on, but usually events during the summer and the season. But for the most part, everything I do pretty much revolves around acting.
And you have an agent, right?
Yes, yes. So I have an agent in Utah, and I have an agent also in LA.
Okay. How do they, I'd love to ask this question to people that have multiple agents. Did you ever have any problems with conversation with the agents of like casting for the same role, or like, does your LA agent only cast you for LA stuff? Like, let's say there's something national, like which agent would cast you for it?
For the most part, it's kind of an agreement. If it comes through Utah, it actually like starts in Utah, it starts casting in Utah, it's all theirs. LA can't touch it. But everything else around the world, my LA agent takes care of all that.
Oh, nice. Do you go over to LA a
Yeah,
decent
yeah,
amount?
I go back and forth. Also have family out there, so I go back and forth visiting, checking things out. Still working on making a move, but where the industry is going, that might not have to. But Definitely be nice to be in sunshine all day.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you might not. I mean, there's so many things being shot in so many different locations. Yeah, I guess you're in kind of a nice central spot. So potentially if you get an offer for something in, Atlanta or something, you're a heck of a lot closer than if you were out of LA or
Right. And
yeah.
the way the video auditions are working, especially with, I mean, they've always been a thing, but with COVID-19 happening, it's becoming a necessity. So, necessarily don't have to fly out to LA to audition and then fly back. But even though it's only like an hour and 20-minute flight, it's not like a 2 hours at the most, but it's not a huge deal, or 11-hour drive. But now you can do everything from home auditioning wise. And if you get it, you get it. You don't, you just move on. So,
Yeah, that's nice. And there's still the cost of the flight and the drive and the time and all that. Yeah.
hotel room if you don't have family, and
Hmm.
food and everything. You still got to pay. You're still forking up some money every time you're flying out there if you don't have people out there already. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that is an advantage to the that every casting now seems to be doing at least the first round uh,
right.
taped auditions instead of in person.
So that's been a blessing. That's been really really good.
Cool. So I watched a couple of your trailers, and I want to ask you about Lost but Not Forgotten because that looks really good. Was that filmed in Utah?
Yes, we actually filmed that in Utah. A local guy in Utah. It's actually part of it's based on a true story. It's actually Bryn's character, that the soldier that I was talking to in the bed in that trailer. His character is based on a true story. Actually, a vet. He was a vet from Utah. He actually passed away. Yeah, he got murdered um, by some guys trying to buy his car. And so that character is based on him,
Oh, wow.
his story, and then he actually added um, my story to it.
To do a period piece on what I would imagine is a pretty minimal budget, to actually get it looking good. Uh,
Yeah, and the crazy thing, that was all shot by college seniors. That was a group from a group of film students from UVU, University, Utah Valley University,
mhm.
and for them to shoot it that and it looks that great, it's a
How
great
did you
thing.
find out about it? Were they just doing a
Um,
casting, or did you know somebody?
yeah, they were doing a casting, and I forgot. There used to be a website. It wasn't Utah Actors. There's another website that used to be here in Utah, and I stumbled across it. Or it might have been Facebook. I stumbled across it. I actually did an audition for the lead role. I actually auditioned for a supporting role, and and when I walked in, I read for the supporting role, and they're like, "Oh, we kind of want you to read for the lead." I read for it, and they're like, "We love you." Had a lot of people read for it, but we think you're our guy.
Yeah,
Because the characteristic, the breakdown of the lead guy was supposed to be like a bigger, more soldier type guy, right? Um, read for it, and they loved me, and they offered it to me, and it was a great set. We had World War II reenactors actually donate the uniforms, the guns, everything, trucks. We had a bunch of them out there for extras and taught us, exactly this is how they used to walk. They did carry guns like that. That's too modern. Everything. And so it was put together very well.
oh wow, that would be fun to be on that set though, to actually just be kind of immersed into that kind of an experience.
I don't know. It was cold. At one point in time, it was like, "Paul, are you guys ready?" Like, yes. I can't feel my feet, so I'm good. Like it was cold. It was in the dead. It was in the dead Utah winter. But definitely, it was a blast. I wouldn't trade that set for the
Nice.
world. Being able to, my dad being military and his brother, my uncle, and a few other people I know. I have a lot of friends in the military, so that was kind of my way as a military brat to pay homage, also to play that role.
How long was the shoot for?
The act 3 days.
Oh, really, 3 days?
Had it all in three
Wow.
days. 3 long days.
Yeah, that looks good. Do you know how much time they spent editing it? Because there's obviously gunfire going on, which they would have had to add in post to
um,
make that realistic.
so I want to say, so we shot it November, right? Might have been 2016, actually. Might have been November 2016. And it released, I want to say spring 2017.
Okay.
Because they
Yeah,
were,
it said 2017 on the,
yeah.
yeah.
So they were trying to release it supposedly they were releasing it for their school's film festival,
Hmm.
short film festival, but it was too long, at a little over 17 minutes, which in my head, a short film is anything under like 48 minutes or something like that. But for them, it was too long. And he was like, "I'm sorry, guys. There's nothing. If I take anything out, it ruins the film. There's nothing I could really take out." And I was cool with it. I was like, "I just need a copy, bro."
Yeah, something to show off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, and let's enter it into other film festivals like around the world. I know there's other war film festivals, especially in Europe and around the nation. And I was like, bro, I'm okay with it, and the cast was cool with it.
Oh, they never did?
No, no, we kind of put it on the back burner, and I asked him, and he was like, yeah, you could definitely put it out. Kind of up to you now. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
what really? Like, I don't
he's
want.
probably like, I don't want to spend the money on the festival entry fees.
Yeah, because he actually has. He sent me like he had a few more acts. I think he almost has a complete script, complete story. And I was like, dude, like, why don't we? We talked about it, after it was done. I was like, dude, why don't we can do like a full feature,
Yeah.
you know? But life happens, kids come upon, back burner, you get a steady job, and he sent it all to me.
Hmm.
That people interested in some war films. And I was like, no. He's like, yeah, you can. Here's all the stuff you can do if you want. If you want, if your dad wants to tweak it, or if you have a writer, I was like, oh man, I appreciate it. But I don't want to ruin your. I want you to still be a part of your project. I don't want to take your project and change it. I want you to get credit as a creator. I want you to get credit as a writer. I want you to be on set. Like, this is your. This is still yours. We talk from time to time about it, and I kind of nudge him a little bit, like, hey, come on. Especially now with everything going on with Black Lives Matter around the world, and the lead is a Buffalo Soldier of World War II. And this is perfect timing to get it finalized and pitch it.
Yeah.
With everything going on, with a lot of a black cast, and it's telling a real story of what was going on back
It's definitely a good time to tell that story. You're right. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're looking for funding and that kind of stuff, you might be more inclined to get it.
then. Exactly.
Well, hopefully it happens because yeah, it looked great from the trailer, anyways. Today's episode of Diary of an Unemployed Actor is brought to you by me, Milo Dennison. What? You can't be sponsoring your own podcast? Why, yes, I can sponsor my own podcast. Did you know before being a unemployed actor and podcast host, I spent 16 years working in technology for some of the largest tech companies in the world? It's true, I did. Before that, I had jobs in customer service, I worked construction, I worked retail. I basically kind of done it all. And I took some of that information and I wrote it down into a book called How to Manage Your Manager. All the credit, half the work. It's a slightly entertaining and slightly informative advice guide on how to work more effectively with your manager. We all have somebody we report to. Well, most of us do anyways. And sometimes it can be, well, let's say, difficult to work for that person. Now, just take this book, give it a read, and pretty soon you will be that manager's #1 rock star. So once again, it's called How to Manage Your Manager. All the credit, half the work. It's written by me. Not to brag, but it's brilliant. Find out where you can get it by going to my website, milodennison.com/books. That's milodennison.com/books to find out where you can get your copy. And now on to the show. You've been working as an actor for about how many years now then?
Right now, it's going on 6 years. Next January makes 6 years.
Okay. Have you ever had a situation where you've basically said no to a project for any reason?
Yeah, there's been a few. I actually did one. There was one late last year. I turned down. And it was just for personal reasons. I ended up, the role sounded good, and I started reading the script, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm not doing this." Now,
Yeah.
I like to think like if I would have accepted it, I would have been all in. If I accept the role, I'm all in on it. So I like to think that I would have just been like, "Oh, we're here. You signed on," and we were filming in Miami, so it was like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, right." So
I get to go to Miami.
you're doing it. You're here. There's no turning back. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that was the last one, but there have been other feuds where I've had got the roles offered to me, and I ended up reading the script. The sides were cool and everything. The audition went great. I got offered the role, and then I was just like reading the script. And the script makes no sense. Talk to the director, or like, hey, I really appreciate it, but I ended up reading the script, and I don't think this is for me. I hope and wish the best for your project. I'll definitely be checking for it. Let me know when it's finished. I'd love to support it. And I tell actors a lot. I talk to a lot of actors in Utah that text and call me. I'm like, it's okay you don't have to say yes to every project offer. No, one bad project can ruin or set your career back. And it happens with big actors, happens with small actors more so. But I was like, it's okay to pick and choose your project. You worked hard to be an actor, um, and for your talents to progress and be better. So like you have a right to say yes or no.
Yeah, that's why I asked that question because I think it's good for people to hear that, especially for those that are starting out and they're just desperate to get work and they just say yes to everything. And sometimes you're like, maybe you shouldn't say yes to that because to your point, like, yeah, maybe the script just doesn't work and you're like, I can't believably, play this character or there's the potential of like if you play this character it might hurt your career in the future in some way. Somebody will see it and be like, well, you did this. So that's kind of stuff that you have to think about when you're choosing a role.
Yeah, yeah. And I tell athletes all the time, you put in the work to be as good as you are. And sometimes it's that. Sometimes the contract doesn't look good. Sometimes they're not paying enough. Sometimes they want you to do it for free, and you're like, no, I pay for my classes and my seminars and my headshots. I deserve to. If you want me, this is my fee. And if they're like, well, we can't afford to pay you, then it's okay to walk away. But
Yeah.
it's also okay to work for free, just not all the time. I want to be on set every day. Like I do. But as an actor, you should want to be. But it's also to be like, but my time is money and money is time in a sense. Like you want a career out of this, so therefore, I hear a lot of people say, I don't do it for the money. Okay, but you also want to do it as a career, so therefore, money is part of it. So you should want to get paid for your services as an actor.
Yeah. And I mean, you still have rent, food, transportation cost associated to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know a guy who's an actor and we were on a shoot and it was just basically just kind of helping a mutual friend out. So I was only there one day and he was there one day as well and we were talking to the director and he said it perfectly. He was like in this particular scenario it was a short film and he's like, I don't mind coming out and helping you out. I didn't have anything going on today, so it's okay. He's talking about the fact that he was just volunteering his time, but he was like, but I mean, I'm not going to incur a cost to help you out for your film, so you still need to pay me, my transportation cost and that kind of stuff, which I thought was nice. And you're right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing something for no pay, especially if maybe you want to get something for a show reel, or maybe you're just helping somebody out, or what you like it. But you need to balance that with it is a job. And, if somebody wants you to, you see postings sometimes for a feature that's filming and it's like, no pay. And you're like, you want me to act in your feature film, but you're not going to pay me for it? Like, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, and no pay, independent feature. So I'm gonna be working 12 to 14-hour days, right? Minimal sleep because it's non-union. So you're gonna have this. You're not gonna have the union. They need an 8-hour turn. You're gonna get home at 2 o'clock. You're gonna want me on set by 8. Like I gotta drive here, and oh, we get pizza. Okay,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
But hey, we're going to feed you. They're like, great, thanks.
Right. So at some point in time, you have to put your foot down and be like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that, and let them get upset with you. It's fine because if one of my acting coaches, he always says, stick to your truths. And when you stick to your truth, I mean, you can say no to this because you can't do it, or you're like, no, it's not for me. Something else is going to come along. I believe in the universe. I believe in positive energy brings positive acts, right? So or positive act, either way, like positivity brings positive. So, you're honest with yourself. No, I can't do that. Like I can't. Something else is gonna come along. It's better for you in a sense.
Yeah.
And
And then what if you say yes to it and then something better comes along that's paid or whatever? And then you got to go back to the other people and be like, yeah, sorry, this paid option came up.
we're
And so
halfway
you're,
through, but hey,
yeah,
like,
sorry.
right. You don't want to be that actor. Then that's the whole different story of somebody trying to ruin you. Like you don't want to hire this person because they promised me this and
Yeah.
you know
They dropped out because they got a paid gig and like,
right.
yeah.
Most
Mhm.
most would probably be like, yeah, I probably would have left too. But I understand they're just honest. And I tell people all the time, it's like if you're gonna do something for free, ask them where is it gonna go? Like, are they gonna enter it? Are they gonna first of all, are you gonna finish it?
Yeah. Big
You're gonna
one.
yes, please can I get my footage? And then what are we gonna do with it? Like, are you gonna try there's thousands of film festivals around the world. It doesn't have to go to Berlin or Toronto or, you know, Sundance. Like, but there's so many other smaller ones that you could enter in and, win or get accepted. Like, so, it's like, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to put all this work in, what are you going to do with it? Like, are you going to enter it into film festivals so it can be seen and you can get notoriety for it and see what's going on? It's like, ask them that. It's okay to say, okay, yeah, we plan on entering into this, is that, and this. Okay, I really like the script, short film, 2 days, 3 days max. I have nothing to do anyways. All right, I'm in. You know,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's an important question I always tell people to ask too is what's happening to the film after it's done? Because it's crazy how many filmmakers you meet that they're like, oh, I don't know. And you're like,
Yeah,
what are you making the film for if nobody's going to see it? Like,
right.
you know?
Did you finish it? It's been a year. Oh, I got busy. Or at least get my rough footage.
Yeah, at least give me something to look at and show. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like I hear that all the time. And there's like little contracts. Like I have friends who I send them contracts. And there's a contract about that, hey, I'm doing this for free, but you have to sign this. It states basically that this will be finished. You will give me my footage. You both will sign it. We'll both have a copy. Like hold them accountable, you know?
That's good. So you do that. So you have a contract pretty much on your projects and say, look, even though I'm doing this for free, this is what I expect to get out the end of it.
Right.
And then you hold them to that.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah. And if they don't sign, if they don't want to sign it, something's wrong. Like,
Yeah.
hey, well, I don't know if I want to sign this. So if you don't think you're gonna finish it, like I can't get my footage. I see so many people fighting for footage constantly off of free projects. Like, yo, I'm emailing this person over and over and over and over again, and they're not emailing me back. I just want my footage, and it's like, geez, like I've been there before years ago. Like, no, like it sucks. You're trying to build your first reel, and no, and they don't answer. They don't pick up the phone anymore. It's like, how do I? That contract holds them accountable. Like, no one's going to take on a small claims court. Well, somebody might, like
Yeah. You never know, but yeah.
Judge Judy and them, right? So, it just holds them accountable. Like, I just signed a contract. When somebody signs a contract in their head, it's just like, okay, so I have to do this.
Yeah. Do you ever feel the need to get your agent involved? Or I'm guessing you never like had that situation, but let's say something that you are doing maybe kind of to help somebody out for free. Do you get your agent involved in those projects, or is it only the ones that come through the agencies?
Only ones that come through them. The independent ones, I kind of solely I deal with them myself.
Yeah.
I think I know enough through my dad and his mentors and his partners that I kind of learned the backside of the business side of acting business. So I definitely know how to talk to them and like, hey man, like where's the contracts? Where's the talent release forms? And
Yeah.
I slipped up recently with that last October, November on a project, which slipped up on it, which I was kind of upset myself about it. But like yeah, I'm like, yo, there's no contract and no one should work. And I'll speak for all actors on set. If there's no talent release forms, everybody stop because
Yeah.
like
Well, because they can't do anything with that film without those. Because if one person could basically be like, "No, you can't do anything with that film because I never signed a talent release
shuts it
form."
down, shuts the whole thing down.
And I've heard of that happening to people actually.
Right. And so like it's not, and they're like, well, that's like, no, no, you understand. It's not just to save the actors, it's also to save you as the director and producer.
Hmm.
Like it's to save you, right? Because now you can say, like, I don't want you to put that out. Yeah, but you signed it.
Yeah.
You signed the contract, the release form and the volunteer form or this amount of pay, like and you got paid. Like you signed all this, so I can release it.
Hmm.
So you don't have the headaches now with with that situation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard of that happening too. And because I mean, imagine if as an actor you don't sign a release form, you go, you do the film, and you don't like it for whatever reason,
Yeah.
and then they're coming back to you 6 months, a year later, like, oh yeah, we didn't get this from you. Can you sign it so we can submit it to such and such festival that requires copies of all our release forms?
Oh,
Like, no, sorry, don't give a shit. You know?
I saw it, bro.
Yeah,
I like how you portrayed my character.
yeah.
No, I don't
Or
like
even worse, like, okay, I'll sign it, but I need a little extra cash now. Like, how
right,
desperately do you want my signature?
right. Now I want pay. I can look great. This is gonna be something. Ah, on my day right now.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Like and I've no actors who've done that. I've read stories of actors doing stuff like that. And it's like contracts up front saves everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you on that one. Okay. So, how do you keep training? Like, you've kind of been doing it for 6 years. You mentioned you studied a bit. Like, what are you doing to keep the skills up?
So I do have a constant acting course I go to for scene study class, and there's another lady I used to go to. Funny thing about her, like, she's amazing. So with her training wise was body language, learning emotions through chakra points, like how to get in out of character. Um,
Sorry, through chakra points?
yeah, yeah, it sounds weird, bro. It sounds
Yeah, I've
super weird.
never heard of this. Yeah.
So like the way she explained it to me, and there's actually acting books on it. I actually found one a
Hmm.
while ago, and it's like learning like your emotions breathe through chakra points. So each emotion breathes different. Like for example, like my anger, I breathe through my hips, and then like my nervousness is like kind of my chest. Like love is like, it really feels like I'm breathing from my heart. Like you like it's just you got to out to say reading it like at first when she explained she's like yo, I'm gonna teach you this, so because I'm not a person who likes to stay in character. Like I'm just not a method person. I'm a serial killer. I don't want to be a serial killer. I want to be on set like during like between scenes just staying a serial killer, right? So and she knows that I like negative emotions, so she taught me this way of chakra points, and it sounds weird and I explain it to people, but it's you really know where your emotions breathe from when you
Hmm.
when you get into it, and it helps you get in and out of that emotion. And once you get a hold of it, it's kind of a natural. It's just like a click. Like okay, my character is feeling this way, and your body just reacts to you being that character in that moment. Like you don't you end up it. I guess talk about the universe. You end up being one with it, like in a sense. Like you automatically just. I know it sounds weird. You look at me.
Well,
Like,
no, I am, but it's not that I'm looking at you like this is crazy. I'm looking at you with I'm trying to understand how
yeah,
it works.
yeah. I mean, because
That's my expression.
yeah, yeah, because ancient Chinese, your body does have chakra points, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's just learning how your emotions come from here, and everybody's emotions don't come
So,
from the
so I
place.
guess like, are you trying to then focus in on that chakra point in order to
Yeah,
get the emotion? So you mentioned, let's say your anger comes from your back. Are you then focused on your back in some way to build that anger up?
mentally, in a sense, your body language changes. So we used to do it. She used to have this big mirror in her studio, so we would practice like before like each session, start each session with vowels, like where each vowel comes from my mouth. Like I know where each one comes from, so I can pronounce my words, or and I can project my voice without yelling because of that. Um, and so she's like, okay, so we're gonna practice love today. We're gonna go through every chakra point, every emotion, and I would watch myself say the same phrase in 12 different emotions in a sense, and I would watch my body change from
So you're
happiness,
so you
sadness,
sorry. So you're saying the phrase focused on that chakra point, and
right?
then seeing how it changes while you're saying that focus on that chakra point.
Exactly. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is real. Like, and then you get used to it and it just becomes automatic.
And are the chakra points different for different people? So do you have to
Usually,
find your own, or?
yeah, yeah. In a sense, I mean, I think they're the same chakra points, but I think everybody, I mean, because my anger is different than your anger, you
Mhm.
know. So my love is different than your love. My nervous is different than your nervous. So in a sense, like they are different for each of us.
Hmm. That's fascinating. No, I think it's fascinating.
Everybody always looks at me and is like, "What? Like, what are you talking? It's not real." I'm like, "Trust me, I've worked with you. You've seen me." They're like, "Yeah, you're really good." Like, yeah, because of that. So
Yeah.
that's one part of training I always keep.
Well, it's fascinating about training too, is it's all about finding what works for you. So, this might work for you, but might not be for somebody else versus you mentioned method. Some people have to be method in order to do the character, or any other thing. So it's interesting how people find whatever it is that works for them. So it's
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. And so with that, like I'm always reading scripts. Uh, I'm always watching like new shows. I'm like on a foreign show kick right now. Um, just to see, I'm the person who watches the show and it's like, who is this actor? How come they got casted? I'll IMDb every actor in that series, right? Just to see where they came from, where they started from, and how they got here. What was their journey like? Like just to see, like, okay, I can do that. Instead of just saying, I'm not a hater, I root for everybody, but it's like, okay, how did they get the show? They're not that good. Where they come from? Or they're amazing. Who are they? Like, how come they're not bigger than this? Like.
Yeah.
And so I'm always looking up. I'm always like, in my head, it's research. Like I watch shows a different way. It's a research thing. I mean, I enjoy them, but it's also like, oh, that's a cool. How they really got into character. Oh wait, they're playing bipolar. They're amazing. They're playing autistic. Oh my god, it's just things I look at that way. So that to me is a part of training. Also, I do a lot of monologues, solo monologues. Just I'll record myself and just watch it, do it again, just watch it, do it again, just watch it, trying to figure out like my own body language. Like, okay, let's change that up. Let's be more. Let's make this dramatic monologue a comedy real quick. Let's see how it looks. See how it feels. Kind of mess around with it, especially in this time. With everything going on right now, there's ways that we have to do. I mean, there are online acting coaches, and I have done a few of those classes, just to stay, hey, let's get some going. But also, there's also things I feel actors as ourselves that we can do. to keep ourselves, kind of a well-oiled machine. It's kind of constantly doing things to stay in that brain to where like when things do get back, which things are opening back up now, it's like, oh, we're ready for this audition.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like the monologue thing of just doing the monologues and trying it different ways, recording yourself and playing with it. That's good. Have you been, now that things are kind of starting to open up, are you getting any more auditions or calls
Yeah,
right now?
yeah. So I've been getting auditions even since. So I've done some stuff from home. I've done some commercials from home. I booked some paid gigs. It's tough. I respect every crew member because being a director, the gaffer, the grip, the sound. I mean, it's tough doing everything, man. I mean, I've always respected the crew, but like having to do it from home yourself, finding the right room, it's just like, this is terrible when no one else is doing it for you. So, um, but yeah, I've been getting a lot of auditions
That's
throughout.
great.
That's in the last, I mean, pretty much the whole time since sporadic, but in the last 2 weeks since LA opened up, like they're just been coming in. I'm getting like this week I've done six.
Wow, good.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I have one more to do tomorrow. Actually, I actually just did one. I just recorded one right before I got on with you.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, um, they're coming. They're coming, and it's enjoyable. I feel like that's an actor's job is to audition, and the bonus is getting a job.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's it. Another girl I talked to for this podcast, she kind of said that, say almost that same thing. She's like, your job as an actor is to audition, you know, and then like, whatever happens after the audition happens, but like you need to focus on that audition, you know. Yeah.
And the weird thing about auditioning, like, and I talked to a lot of great actors, through my dad and other friends I've met and worked with a lot of great actors over the years, and it's like some people are just audition isn't their thing. It's not a lot of actors' things, But it's like, but if I get on set, I get the role, I'm gonna kill it. If I just give me a chance, and my audition might not have been the greatest, but just give me a chance. Like if I get the role, trust me on this. Like, but I know it's hard to say as an actor, but I hear a lot of actors say that, and it's a real thing. It's like, well, because I think the nervousness and the anxiousness is gone. It's like, oh, I got it. Oh, I'm good. But like to get it, it's like, uh, uh, Slate. My name is, what's my name? You know, like,
Yep.
um, but so like, how can, and I still struggle with auditioning. I think every actor pretty much does. And
Yeah. I mean, because you're nervous. I mean, you want it. And yeah.
right. And I think something that, one of the truest things that happened, I think when Octavia Spencer won her Oscar years ago, they're like, what do you, she was like, oh, the best thing about it is I got this Oscar. I never have to audition again. Like, it was like, she's right. Like she has an Oscar now. She really doesn't anymore. It's like, hey, here's 100 scripts, read through them and see which one you want.
That's great. Yeah. Why do you want to make it in the business? So I don't have to audition anymore.
Right. Just can't be roles. But also, I think there's a beauty in auditioning and being the one that gets it. Like if it's a co-star or a day player, or if you get the lead or whatever role it is, like, I think there's just a. I mean, I'm competitive. I think there's just a feeling like I don't know. Could have just been two of us that auditioned for this role, but the fact is, I beat out one or multiple people. For some reason, I beat out X amount of people for this role. They picked me. There's just a satisfaction, and for me personally, out of that.
Yeah, no, totally agree with you. How do you then deal with the rejection of not getting the part?
Um, I'm easygoing, so like as soon as I'm done with my audition, I tear up my sides and walk out. It's out of my hands. Like if I don't get an email or a call from my agent, or if it's independent, if I don't get anything from them, I already moved on to X amount of auditions that I've got in that I'm doing. If the audition's live, or if I get it, oh, okay, cool, I got it. All right, cool. Let's look at a contract. Let's look at what are we doing with this? Like where are we going with this? What are the shoot dates? Like. So I learned over the years, like, dude, when you're done, you're done. I can't dwell on it. I mean, there's roles that I feel like I've nailed the audition. Like, there's no way. There's roles that I walked in and the director has told me how amazing I was and loved my look and thought my audition was great. No phone call.
The
Right?
best,
I
yeah.
mean,
You're
right? Like,
brilliant. I love it. And then nothing.
right? Nothing, right? You just lied, and I believe him. Just somebody else came along that might have fit the co-star, whatever. Um, and there's auditions where I walk out, I'm like, yo, I know I didn't get this. There's no way. There's no way they're gonna. Hey, so they want to book you for the role. They loved you. Oh, oh, okay. I, I already chalked it up as a loss. Like, so yeah, I just deal with it as it comes. It's like, hey, you don't get it. You get it, you get it. Just gotta keep moving. Don't let one. I feel like you're gonna get more no's than yes. No one bats 1,000,
Yeah.
right? It's just the way the business works. Just keep grinding, keep going, because every actor is one role away from being that actor.
Yeah. Well, and especially nowadays, because there's so much more opportunity than there used to be too, with so many streaming platforms and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
I mean, and you can make your own projects.
Yeah.
Like I'm helping produce a project with a few friends right now, and dude, like we can make our own projects, and then we could pitch a finished project to. Like you said, there's so many platforms now,
Mhm.
and if you just need one to pick it up and promote it, then you're good.
Yep. Yeah. Great. Give me something unusual from the special skills section of your resume.
I think I'm pretty normal. I
Yeah.
don't have like one thing I could tell you, like what I don't have
Okay.
is accents. Like even though I lived overseas for 14 years, I never was a kid who practiced accents. Like I can't do a British
And
accent.
you didn't just naturally pick it up by living.
No, well for the most, and we traveled a lot, but we also were on lived on American basis with Americans.
Okay.
So 95% of the time I'm around Americans, in Europe and Asia. And we would go out and travel, but everybody speaks English. So it's like, and we learned the language, but and then like I did a table read a few weeks ago, and I had to play this Italian guy, and I was like, "Yo, you guys really want to do this Italian accent? Yo, it's gonna be terrible." And I know it was terrible. And it worked. I mean, worked for the script. But I was like, "Yo, I know it was terrible. Like, trust me, I'm not." Until this day, I'm still not that person, which is something I've been working on. So watching foreign shows, I've watched a few shows from England, and I've been like mimicking their accents, trying to work on it in a sense. I have a friend from England that I talk to all the time. It's like, "Yo, I just gotta mimic it, you know?" And yeah, but that's one thing I don't have. And people are like, "Yo," my agent was like, "Yo, can you do a Jamaican accent?" I was like, ah. He's like, "Can you do a British accent?" No. I was like, "But I could do American accents. I could do a West Coast accent. I could do an LA accent. I could do a New York accent. I could do a Southern accent. Anything American, I got it. Anything foreign, whew, gotta work on that." Yeah.
Yeah, I get auditions here, and they're like, "How's your British accent?" And I'm like, "It's awful." Like, yeah, if you're looking for somebody to play an American,
Right.
that I can do.
Instead of hiring a British guy to play an American, how about you just hire me? Like,
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm here.
Cool. All right. Last question. How can people track you down if they need to find you?
Oh man. So they can track me down on social media, Facebook, Paul Anthony Sonnier Jr., um, Twitter, who is Paul Jr., Instagram, at Paul Anthony Sonnier Jr., IMDb, of course, Paul Anthony Sonnier Jr.
All right.
Uh, everything's my name. Everything's my name. A person told me a long time ago as an actor, don't have, use your name. People want to find you, use your name. They will Google you and you'll pop up.
So would they look at you but as Paul Anthony Sonia Jr. or Paul Sonia? Like, what do you generally go by?
I go at Paul Anthony Sonnier Jr. because my dad's Paul Sonnier. So they type in
Okay.
I mean, if you type in Paul Sonnier, I think I still pop up on Google, like it's the top person. But if you type in Paul Anthony Sonnier, like I'm automatic, like the first few pages that pops
That's
up.
the way to find it. Okay.
Right. Yeah, that's the best way to find it because Paul Sonnier is my dad, and you might get his military bio. You're like, this not. I thought he was. His age range was like 21 or 30. He looks a little bit older than that.
Seems a bit old here. Yeah.
He doesn't look like his headshot right here. So yeah, that's the best way to track me.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot, Paul, for being on the show. I appreciate it. That was a great conversation.
I really appreciate you having me. It's
Thanks.
fun.
Great.